Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. Quick, hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on our socials too: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on whatever you're listening to this podcast on. Welcome to another meeting of TV Holics Anonymous. My name is Ruru, and I am a TV holic. Mimi's not here right now. I'm going to do this solo. I'm flying solo on this episode because she has not watched this, and she's having some technical difficulties with her Netflix. That's where we watch all our, K-dramas and all that. So yeah, I'm doing this alone today. This is my first, solo episode in a very, very long time, so please bear with me. I know that I did put up some solo episodes previously, but I recorded them like months and months ago, so this is just like really new for me, so bear with me, please. Okay, so this episode isn't an episode, it's a movie, and I didn't think I'd do this, but I watched it because I heard like good things about it. I heard people talking about it, and everyone said it was really funny, so I thought I have to like watch it. I watched it and I thought now I'm just going to have to do a pod on it because it was really, really entertaining. It was much different than I thought it'd be. I didn't know really what I expected, but it's a lot different. Anyway, so this movie is called Wild Sing, and it was on Netflix. I think it was like a movie produced, but like released straight onto Netflix. It's basically has like a lot of Y2K vibes, and like it goes from like the past to the present and the present to the past, and it's quite interesting, like the twists and the turns, and it's just basically like a good movie if you want to like laugh, and there's like a lot of kind of not suspense, but like people doing really dumb things, and you're just like, oh my god, like, are they gonna actually accidentally kill this person, or what's happening? If you like watching things like that, like just pure comedy, then I suggest. And if you want a bit of nostalgia from like, the early 2000s, or, a bit earlier than that, I suggest watching this. It's so hilarious. So basically it's about, let's just talk a bit about the like premise and everything. So before I do that, I just want to say it's directed by Son Tae-gon. Hopefully I said his name right. And he directed movies like Secret, I don't know if they're movies or, yeah, maybe movies or TV shows, I think movies. Secret Zoo, My Scary Girl, and produced by About Film. I think that's the production company. And they're behind like the movie Extreme Job. I think it's a movie. I don't know if it's a TV show or a movie, but yeah. So I'm just going to talk about the like movie. So the story kind of like revolves around Triangle, and Triangle is like this fictional 3-member co-ed meaning male and female group, K-pop group in, I think, in about like the early 2000s, and it's like a kind of like classic cool Rura or Coyote. Coyote. I don't know what I wrote down, but I think these are the things that were used online to describe the vibe. And that kind of like skyrocketed to like this group kind of like skyrocketed to like fame in like, I think like 2021. I mean, not 2021. What am I talking about? In 2001. And then they like basically collapsed overnight as well. So we see like the demise of it, like, in the flashback, not flashbacks, like they just show the beginning, like how they like came together and everything, and how like the leader of the group was discovered like in a kid's playground by their manager, who turns out to be like, embezzling from them and stuff. Like it's a lot. There's a lot. It's hilarious. I'm just telling you, watch it. You gotta watch it because you won't regret it. And then, yeah, what else did I write? So yeah, it collapses overnight, due to like plagiarism, like scandal that they have. And also like the manager, like I said, when the group collapses over the scandal, he kind of like takes a flight to somewhere and is never to be seen again. And he runs off with their money, basically. And then we see them again, and it's 20 years later, and they're like all three of them like are totally washed up members of this like great Korean pop band, which was great before 20 years ago. And then we see them in the movie basically reunite for one like final kind of like chaotic, wild gig that they are trying to get to perform at. And it's like a wild ride to get there in the first place and to like get all the members there as well, to convince all the members to, be at this performance. And once they overcome that, then they have other obstacles and like hurdles to face, like from like other people who get in their way, kind of, and some people who they like. Some of it, the problems they cause themselves, and some of it is like kind of like misunderstandings and stuff. But in the end, I think everything works out okay. It's like a happy ending, so like a messy, messy happy ending. So it's a interesting movie. So let's just talk a bit about the box office and streaming phenomenon. So I think that the numbers released in like South Korea, the theaters, I think so it was out in the theaters. I'm just looking at this information on my screen right now. Um, it was released on June 3rd, 2026, and it drew 1.33 million views. And then it grossed about 8.6 million at the box office in South Korea. It failed also to hit its like 2 million break-even point at the box office due to a lot of like tough summer competition with the Mandalorian and Gorgu and Michael. I think these are the movies it was like up against in the Korean box office. And then I also noted that despite like losing money in theaters, one of the sub-characters songs in the movie, Choi Seong-gon's character, he was played by Jung-se. It's like a cheesy ballad kind of thing. That was my favorite part of the movie as well, and this is what I also saw a lot of people after on social media, like a lot of like Korean like celebrities and stuff doing like parodies of this song. I saw, that guy from uh Physical Asia, the Korean captain of Physical Asia. I forgot his name, something Kim. I forgot. Anyway, yeah, he was basically doing a parody. He had a wig on, and he had like long hair in the wig, with the wig, and he was like singing the song, and it was hilarious to me. It's Niga Choa, the song. So I think it became like really viral because like a lot of people went on TikTok and like Instagram Reels and were like, recreating it. Like I saw that guy recreating it, and I just think it's like so funny, and it's so catchy as well because he's just repeating those same like few words over and over again, and like he's singing it in like a ballad way, like like it's meant to be like a really like romantic, like sad song. And in the movie he's like puking while he's singing. It's hilarious. I did have to look away while I was eating because I unfortunately was watching this while I was eating, and I was grossed out by that scene, so I just looked away. But I still like kind of like looked at like a little slither of my eye, so I did see a bit of it. Anyway, I'm digressing. And then Netflix, it was like released on Netflix globally on July 30th or 31st, 2026. And I noticed that it had loads of different subtitles. It had 32 languages and it was dubbed in 15 different languages. I think that was like amazing that they managed to, have all those facilities like right there and then for, like people watching it in other countries, because I think this is going to be like quite popular around the world because it's very funny, very catchy. And I think like that little ballad, like it's very catchy, even though, like for a non-Korean like speaking native, like I can remember the lyrics because it just he's repeating the same like phrase over and over again. So I think it's going to be very popular around the world, hopefully. Um, Also, I think putting it on Netflix is giving it kind of like a second kind of life. Like it's rebirthing it because it did debut in, I believe, when did I say it debuted in June, on June 3rd, and now it's being it was re-released on Netflix on the 30th or 31st. So it's kind of like, drawing more like money in. I don't know how it works. Like, I don't know if the producers or like the people who own the movie just sold it to Netflix, or are they getting like, like stream share, like money coming in from the streams or what? Like, I don't know, revenue sharing or what's going on, but it is like birthing new life into it, like breathing new life into it. Yeah, so it's because it's like very K-drama and very K-pop, like orientated. A lot of K-pop fans are going to watch it, and a lot of K-drama fans are going to watch it, so it's going to have a lot of like crossover. So I think it's going to do pretty good. Um, so let's just get into like the plot, like scene by scene, and like let's just talk about the beginning. So in the beginning, in the first act, I think they were like basically talking about like they went not talking about, but it was like the good old like glory days we see, and then we see all like the fallout and everything as well. So basically like I said a bit about it before we're getting into this, so I might be repeating myself a bit. So the formation of the group was like the leader, who is Ha, again, sorry about butchering the names. I'm just going to call him Woo, Hyun-woo, Ha Ha Hwang Hyung-woo. I'm going to call him Woo for the sake of this. Who's played by Gang Dong-won. He's basically 19 at the start of this, and he's recruited by this like weird, shady, like manager kind of character, Park Yong-gu, to lead the group Triangle alongside rapper Gu Sung-gu, played by Tae-Goo, and centaur vocalist Beyond Dumi, Park Ji-Hyun, played by Park Ji-Hyun. Hyun. Again, I'm very, very sorry. I know I'm saying all of this wrong. But yeah, so like I said, he was recruited. The first guy was recruited. Woo was recruited at the park. He had a meeting with the manager, and he was doing like, his like breakdancing with his helmet on and everything funny. And he had his long hair. At the start of this, when I just looked through, before I started watching it, I just looked through the, on Netflix, it has like little previews. I could see the long hair and everything, and the, like the baggy, like 2000s clothing and all that, and the group like dancing and stuff. And I just thought it was like more of like about a group, a Japanese group or something like that, because it's very like, it looked to me very Japanese because like it's kind of like the Japanese style. So that's what I thought it was basically before watching. And then they basically released their like hit dance track called Love Is, and it became like an instant phenomenon, and you can just see them like getting bigger and bigger, and like they're huge like pop stars at this point in the movie. And then at the peak of like their success, they're at this party, um and two major like basically disasters happen. The rival like ballad singer Choi Seong-gon, played by Jung-se, he basically gets swept into like a drug scandal, and Triangle, the group, discovers that their company has not paid them. So they're like, stressing out about all that as well. And then to like make matters even worse, like news basically breaks that Love Is, their like hit single, was plagiarized, and Hyun-woo basically is like the scapegoat for the group. And because he was told by his manager to say that he's the composer and he wrote the song, so he had to like basically take the hit for the group, and the group just basically like disbands and is like disgraced overnight, and like they're just like not in the K-pop industry anymore, because like you know they were like people were outraged by like the plagiarism and all that stuff and the scandals and everything. And then the next part of the movie is the next act. The second act is basically 20 years later. And basically, there's like a reality check of like how it is now. So we see Hyun-woo, and basically he's broke and he's struggling, and he's like a live streamer on this like low tier streaming like platform, and he's begging for digital donations and stuff like that. And he's basically at this radio show, and he gets fired from there. And then there is Sang-gu, and he's the rapper, and he's basically drowning in debt after like a failed like solo hip hop career that he tried to launch. By the end of the movie, we find out he tried to relaunch himself like 3 times and got himself like in trouble with like loan sharks, and um who are constantly like basically running after him for money. And um yeah, so he did it 3 times, like, and he also got his parents to like remortgage their business or home or something like that as well. So he's in a lot of like debt, and his family's in a lot of debt because of like his, you know, ongoing ambitions, I guess, to be like a pop idol again, a K-pop idol again. Um, Delusional ambitions. And also he's selling insurance, I think. Yeah, he's going around like trying to sell insurance to people, life insurance. And it's not going very well because he's not very nice, and like he just keeps chatting crap about people as soon as they leave, or he thinks that they leave, and then he kind of loses business like that. And then there's Dormi. She's the only female in the group, and she basically has abandoned her music completely, and is basically, I feel like she's trapped and suffocating in this marriage, with an ultra rich, like very conservative family. And she's the daughter-in-law, and the mother-in-law is always like, video calling her on like a big screen and like, chewing her out, like berating her. And she seems pretty miserable, but like very rich and happy in that way, but like unfulfilled because she like probably wants to do music and other things. But this is like a chaebol family, so they are like billionaire. It's like a billionaire conglomerate family, so she wants to stick in there, stay in there. And then there's basically what happens is an offer comes in, to basically reunite the group, for like this like kind of like modest like local kind of provincial festival gig. So it's like a little province in South Korea, and uh, basically the group leader is trying to round everyone up, and it pays like almost nothing, but Hyung-woo sees it as like at least a chance to get some like closure, and say like I guess, goodbye to his youth or something like that, or like try and revive his career because he's got nothing else going on and he got fired from the radio show as well. So he's just like gung ho, like going for this. And then Act 3, there's like a road trip and there's like chaos and like everything else that ensues. So the road trip, so they managed to get everyone together in the car, and the middle section basically becomes like very, very chaotic. And basically it's because of this road trip. There's a lot of comedy, and the three of them attempt to travel to like this small like town venue, and they're just like arguing and avoiding like creditors and confronting like 20 year old like grudges against, because they found their manager and he's pretending that he's like he can't speak Korean and all that, and then they kind of drove him off the road and all that. And basically they arrive in their like neon Y2K outfits, and Hyun-woo pulls off like his old breakdance moves at the end of the movie, despite his like aching like knees because of like all the things that they went through. And Sung-gu, like the rapper, he basically raps like, and he does really amazing. Like he basically, they said the leader, Hyung-woo, and the organizers just wanted them to stick to the original song, but the rapper, Sung-gu, basically wanted to like, rewrite his rap to make it better and stuff, and it sounded really good. And then Doomy basically like delivers her vocals, and she's like really good. Like all of them did really well on that performance. And they gave this performance before the other guy, the ballad singer, who went and puked all over because they had a car crash and everything, and he puked basically all around in a circle while singing the ballad Niga Jua. So that was really like funny, and like I said, I was eating, so I was trying to hold my food down and look away at the same time. And then the ending, they don't become rich superstars again, and they don't really like fix their lives overnight. But the ending is about like, I think like they're reclaiming their like agency and like forgiving themselves for like the failures that they had in the past. That wasn't really their fault, and they basically are like forgiving other people as well in their lives, like their manager, and they kind of patch things up with him. He goes off to scam some other people, some other, like young stars, up and coming people, and then basically Domi decides to kind of like, I think, manage or like, do something with the careers of the rapper and the leader, Woo, Hyung-woo and Sung-gu. And she's basically like, she becomes the her mother-in-law, and she's like on the TV screen, and she's like yelling at them, telling them you better do your photos right and everything. And like, she's like basically their manager now. So, because she doesn't want to leave, she doesn't want to become a pop star anymore. Because she's like trying to get she's like, she's going to wait it out and try and get all the chaebol money. So she's not going to fumble that bag. So she wants to stay with them and, like live that out. But she also wants to do something. So I guess like managing these guys is like something she could do to make her life a bit less like monotonous and like kind of like meaningless, because she's just sitting around having her mother-in-law yell at her all day. And then I just want to talk about the cast, chemistry, and behind the scenes gossip as well. So Gong Dong-won, the guy that plays Young Hyung-woo, basically the casting for this, he was basically known for like slick action thrillers like Master and Peninsula, and Broker. And this was like Kang Dong Wong's first time playing an idol role. an idol group member role in his like 20 plus like career as an actor, I guess. And then behind the scenes, there was like I'm just going to talk about training and stuff. Like he spent like 3 months in intensive breakdance boot camp to perform his like power moves, one where he spins around on his head for ages, with like without like a stunt double. I guess he wanted to do everything by himself. And then Tae-Goo, who plays Song-gu, Song-gu, basically he he's basically famous for like um his like deep raspy voice and intense like quiet gangster roles that he plays like in movies like Night in Paradise and My Sweet Mobster. And seeing Tago in like bright neon Y2K outfits rapping awkwardly was like I think a major source of comedy for a lot of people because it's like so out of like his character, his roles that he plays. Like he's normally typecast in those kind of like, serious roles and not comedy roles. So I think it's also an interesting choice for the director to pick these people for the movie. Like I don't know what inspired him, but I think it ultimately came together so well. And he just had a vision, I guess, that I want this and this person for the role, and it's going to be amazing. And he made it happen. And then BTS gossip as well. So reportedly, Tae-go was like so shy during the music video shoots, and the director Son Jae-gon had to clear the set for like non-essential crew so he could dance in front of the camera without like freezing up. So that's quite interesting. I don't know what that had to do with like BTS. Oh, behind the scenes gossip, I meant. That's what I wrote, BTS, not BTS, not the band BTS. Um, but incidentally, I did do 2 episodes about BTS on this podcast for the Netflix show that they did, their comeback show that they concert that they did on Netflix. Yeah, so check that out if you haven't, if you're a BTS fan or if you're just curious about BTS. Now, Park Ji-Hyun, who plays Byun Domi, the girl in the group in Triangle. Also, I love the way that they do triangle. They say triangle, and then they put their hands together, their fingers together to do a triangle shape. And it was so convincing how how they were so like into it and how they looked so lame and everything. And I think they acted like superbly because they're like trying to act like they're like so serious about it, yet it was so stupid and everything. It was just really good. I really thoroughly enjoyed this movie, and I think that's why it resonated with a lot of people. And then so yeah, Domi basically is like known for like reborn rich, and Ji-Hyun basically took, this is the actress that plays Domi, took real vocal lessons to match the 2000s female like co-ed group singers, like tones and everything, like Coyote Shin-ji. I don't know who that is, but that's what people have said. Okay, so Jung-se, Choi Si-gon, Gon Gon. I don't know how to say his name. I'm really sorry. Yeah, so the guy that sings Niga Jua, the viral tune of the movie, I found him to be the funniest member. I mean, not member, but he's not part of the group Triangle, but the funniest person in the movie. Like he literally made me laugh so much. It was so funny when he became a hunter. And then it was also so funny when he was like so serious in the beginning, in the early 2000s. And then it was really funny when he was like, well, not so funny for me because I was eating, like I said before, but he was like throwing up everywhere. That was hilarious on the stage. And when he was like so serious after they had the car crash and everything and all that stuff. And then like the basically so let's talk about him. So I'm gonna call him Gong for this. Or oh no, let's just call him by okay. So or Jung-se plays basically the tragic ballad singer whose like career was like collateral damage in like 2001 when he was like outed for a drug scandal. When like he accidentally, did drugs at a party at a off after award show party at like a mansion or something, I don't know. And then the actual K-pop producers wrote like the song I Like You Niga Jua to sound basically intentionally over dramatic to make like or Jung says parody performance like go viral um on a short form like platform, because I think they knew that it would like really resonate with people, like, and people would do like parodies of it on like Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and stuff. So I just want to talk about like the critical like stuff like that people have said about the movie, so like, and other controversies as well. So the jarring tonal shift jar I thought that was Korean. I had written something like Korean, but I just meant the jarring tonal shift. Okay, so basically it's like slapstick versus like melodrama like going on here. So the film basically starts as like a satire of the 2000s K-pop industry, and basically it shifts into like a physical like slapstick road trip, and then it kind of tries to like weave its way into being like a heavy drama about like regrets of these three like, or basically four, because we're gonna count in the ballad singer as well. Regrets of like these like failed pop stars' lives. And then critics basically argued that the tonal shift felt like pretty uneven. It was like a big jump from place to place. I felt that at times too, but like the funniness of it like kind of outweighed that. And I'm gonna give my rating at the end of like this, so don't worry. I'm gonna let you know what I thought of the whole movie altogether. So then also like another criticism was the like de-aging and the like age gap issues as well. So Gang Dong Won is like 45 in real life, and he's playing like a 19-year-old in 2001 in the beginning. So you can clearly tell that he is much, much older. And that's why I thought it was like in the previews, I thought it was like a Japanese kind of like vibe to it, because like it was very like they looked much like very different to what you see in like standard Korean like pop stars dressing and hair and everything, hair and makeup and everything these days. So yeah. So he was playing a 19-year-old in 2001, and the flashback sequences like kind of like sparked a debate online. Like people were kind of pissed about it, because how are we meant to believe that he's like 19, like when he's clearly like a I was gonna say ajuma, but I mean ajashi. um and then basically yeah, so it sparked debate online, and while it was like meant to be part of like this like comedic absurdity, like some like people that were reviewing it, or like just netizens in general, like found that the visual like dissonance was like pretty distracting from the whole movie, because they they were like they should have picked someone who was closer to the age range, so, or looked much younger, so it could like translate to the viewers, because it was like giving like craziness. Or they could have just had like other actors play the younger versions of themselves or something like that, people were saying. And then we just want to talk about like some of the tropes of the road trip as well. So like mid-movie, like I'm just talking about mid-movie stuff. So like the loan shark's chasing the crew, and the car breaks down, and like the silly misunderstandings. they all felt kind of like repetitive to viewers, like people were complaining about that. And they were hoping for like some deeper, like kind of like satire of like the modern music business and stuff like that, but it kind of never came to fruition. And also, I have a complaint about the loan shark situation. We like after the rapper, he got stabbed by the loan shark, like he was just fine after that. Like I don't know who is fine after being stabbed in the leg. Like it's just like not normal. He just carried on. They just like walked out of there and were like, okay, cool. Like we're just gonna do this. And then also that whole lone shark situation never like kind of like resolved itself, or there was no conclusion to that, because we never get to a point where we go back, revisit what's happening, because he still hasn't really clearly got any money coming in. So how's he going to pay all these loan sharks back? And his family has like, remortgaged their home and remortgaged their businesses. So it's like that's a dire situation. We never get any kind of conclusion to that. So that also makes me think, could there be a sequel to this movie, and we see like what they're doing with their absurd new like vision of being like old age pop stars? Interesting. I just think it's interesting to find out what's going on there. Also, the box office stuff as well, and Netflix versus like Netflix streaming. A lot of Koreans like didn't buy movie tickets to see this, and because I feel like it was like post-pandemic, a lot of the audience like didn't want to like have not been going to the movies post-pandemic. They just kind of wait for things to come out on Netflix or like on TV and stuff like that. So like Korean audiences like skipped like mid-budget like comedies in the in the cinema, and they just opt to wait for like 8 weeks for like it to come out on other platforms. And then I just want to talk about some other random bits and pieces. So I just want to compare the like triangle to real life 2000s groups. Like this is what they were compared to, like what netizens were comparing it to, like Rura and Cool and UP and Coyote and S3. And basically those were the days when like co-ed groups started to vanish, because co-ed groups were like big then, and now they've like vanished, because there's none like in modern like K-pop. In third and fourth generation K-pop, there's like no co-ed groups. Basically, it's like a thing of the past. And then like there was a lot of fashion, like Y2K like fashion in this movie, and it was like visually it was kind of like very like nostalgic, and there was a lot of like baggy hip hop influences and baggy jeans and like visor caps and like frosted tips on the hair. That's still like a thing in Japan, like frosted tips. So I that's why, like I said, I thought it was very Japanese, and oversized like windbreakers and stuff like that. And then the actual like K-pop hit makers were like bought in to like produce the Nigajua song, so it sounded like genuinely like catchy rather than like a cheap like movie parody. So I think that's what elevated it a bit as well. It wouldn't have been as funny and as entertaining if they didn't have like a very like catchy song like that. And then or Jung-Se was basically stealing the show. Like I said, he was my favorite part of the show. And people like really resonated with his character because he was like outshining the main like leads in like the film. So like obviously the triangle members and like the leader of the group, Hyun-woo, were meant to be like the center focus, but the side character, or Jung-se was like basically stealing the show because like he was just so hilarious. Like I said, he was my favorite character on the show, on the movie. I keep saying show, but I mean movie. You know what I mean. And then I just want to know basically if you guys could like bring back one disbanded 2000s group from for like basically like a one-off reunion concert, like a K-pop band, like who would it be? Which band would it be? Would it be one of the ones that I mentioned, like Rura, Cool, UP, Coyote, or S3, or any other groups? I am not very aware of these groups from the past. I'm more of like a modern K-pop fan, so I'm not really, like I'm more into like BTS and Blackpink. Who else? Stray Kids and things like that. So yeah, Astro and things like that. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I want to give this, I'd say, because of like it was like a bit jarring because they just went from one bit to the other, but also it is a movie, it's not a K-drama, so I can't really take points off for that, but I think I'd give it like a 7/8 or 7.5 soju bottles of soju for this, because I think it had room to be better, and hopefully there's a sequel to this, like part 2, and they can make it even funnier and like have it less disjointed. And I will definitely be like ready to watch that because I think it was hilarious, and they have to have the ballad singer back in the sequel if they have a sequel. There needs to be a sequel. I'm saying it, like, if you guys think there needs to be a sequel, comment and let me know. And the more we put it out into the universe, hopefully like the producers and everyone will listen and they will make our dreams come true. So yeah, me and Mimi will probably be back pretty soon with another episode of the Love Lab. We're trying to finish that as quickly as possible because we also want to move on to Better Late Than Single. And I just saw that they have dropped a reunion for that, which I think is amazing. I think they should be dropping reunions for all East Asian like reality TV shows. I think that's just the way they have to do it because we need to see what's happening later on, like after these guys exit the show. Like I think that was a fail that they didn't do that from the start for Better Late Than Single, but I think they're making up for it with like doing it now, and hopefully it continues because I loved the Singles Inferno reunion. So yeah. Anyway, I'm digressing and yapping on for way too long. Yeah, like I want to know if you guys like the movie or not, and what you thought of the ballad singer and the song Niga Jua. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. And yeah, so see you guys really, really soon. I also will be covering another Thai show as well, by myself because Mimi's not watching that. And I'll be back with episodes of that. Episodes of that drop every like week, so I'll be doing them in like probably lumps of 2, or like the first one's going to be like a lump of 2. So yeah, stay tuned for that. Bye. Quick, hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. You can also follow us on our socials too: Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Blue Sky, YouTube, and give us a 5-star rating on whatever you're listening to this podcast on.